So you think dopamine detox is going to fix your life? You're about to delete TikTok, throw your phone in a drawer, and somehow that's supposed to reset your brain? Yeah, I used to think that too, until I tried it 7 times and failed every single time. But here's the wild part. None of that is backed by real neuroscience. And worse, it might actually make you more addicted to distractions in the long run. See, the way most people do dopamine detox is built on a complete misunderstanding of how dopamine works. You're not resetting anything. You're just making yourself bored and hoping for magic. And if you've ever tried it and ended up binge-watching Netflix 2 days later, yeah, there's a reason for that. By the end of this video, you'll know why 90% of people quit their dopamine detox within 48 hours, and what to do instead if you really want control over your focus, motivation, and productivity. But first, let me show you exactly where everyone gets this wrong. I interrupt your enjoyment to tell you that these animations takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to create, and I animate it and do everything myself. So if you're enjoying these videos, please leave a like and subscribe for more. It seriously would mean a lot to me. Now back to the video. You're probably watching this at 2 a.m., scrolling through your phone when you should be sleeping, feeling like your brain is completely fried. You can't focus for more than 5 minutes without checking your phone, and you're tired of feeling like you're addicted to your own devices. So you search for answers, and everyone's shouting the same thing: dopamine detox. No phone, no music, no snacks, no talking. And suddenly you'll become this super focused, ultra productive version of yourself. But let's be honest, you tried it, and it didn't work. Maybe you lasted a few hours, maybe a day. The problem isn't you. It's the way the entire concept of dopamine detox is misunderstood and misused online. In the next 8 minutes, I'm breaking it all down. What dopamine actually does in your brain. It's not what TikTok says. Why cutting off everything enjoyable isn't the fix and might even backfire. And what you should be doing instead if you actually want to reclaim your focus and motivation. Stick around because at the end, I'll give you the exact protocol I use to break my phone addiction without feeling like I was torturing myself. It's about understanding your brain and finally working with it instead of against it. Let's talk about what most people think dopamine detox is. You've probably seen the videos. A guy wakes up at 5 a.m. No phone, no music, no coffee, no Netflix. He sits in silence, stares at a wall, maybe journals for 2 hours straight. Then boom, he's suddenly laser-focused, meditating like a monk, crushing goals by noon. The caption? How dopamine detox changed my life. And let's be honest, you wanted that to be you. You thought, okay, maybe I just need a reset. I'm too distracted, too overstimulated. If I just eliminate all the dopamine hits, my phone, snacks, video games, I'll finally be able to focus. So you try it. No music on your walk. No sugar in your tea. You even delete TikTok for like 8 hours. And what happens? At first, it feels kind of cool. You're doing something disciplined. But by day 2, you're bored out of your mind. Your brain's screaming for stimulation. You start wondering why reading a book isn't as exciting as doom scrolling. Eventually, you cave. Maybe to Instagram or a YouTube short, and boom, the guilt hits. Now you feel worse. Because not only are you still distracted, but you've also failed the one thing that was supposed to fix you. Sound familiar? Here's what nobody tells you. Your brain doesn't just reset like a computer when you suddenly cut off all your dopamine sources. That's not how dopamine works. It's not a bad chemical you need to starve. And the worst part? Most people think this means they failed, when really, the system failed them. So let me tell you what's really happening in your brain during those first few days of dopamine detox, because it's way more intense than anyone admits. The silence doesn't heal you, it confronts you. You're face to face with your raw, unfiltered mind. No distractions, no escapes, just the mental noise you've been drowning in stimulation to avoid. And that's where the psychological backlash begins. By day 2 or 3, the cravings kick in. Not just for your phone or that YouTube binge, you start craving anything that numbs the discomfort. You scroll without realizing. You accidentally open Instagram. You tell yourself, just 5 minutes. But it's not just a discipline problem, it's biology. Dopamine isn't the enemy. It's the reason you feel motivated in the first place. Cutting off dopamine completely is like slamming the brakes on a car while you're still trying to move forward. A 2021 neuroscience review from Vanderbilt University actually showed that dopamine spikes aren't rewards. They're anticipation cues. It's what makes you want to do something. No dopamine equals no drive. So when you remove everything that spikes it, your brain doesn't reset, it panics. You start to feel flat, unmotivated, and even anxious. Your productivity doesn't go up, it tanks. Because what actually happens is your brain starts associating productivity and focus with punishment. You're literally training yourself to hate the activities you want to love. And here's the cruel twist. The more extreme your detox, the more intense the rebound. You binge harder, you scroll longer, and then you feel even more broken than before. This is the trap. The internet sold you a lie that dopamine detox is about becoming this monk-like machine of discipline. But in reality, you've been starving your motivation chemical and expecting focus to magically appear. That's like turning off the lights and wondering why you can't see. The problem isn't dopamine itself, it's how you're using it. And in the next chapter, we'll flip the entire idea of detoxing on its head and show you how to work with dopamine instead of against it. Here's where everything clicked for me, and it's going to sound so obvious once I say it, but stick with me. Dopamine isn't your enemy. It's like a river running through your brain, and that river is always going to flow. The question isn't how to stop the river, it's how to redirect it. Think about it this way. If you have a powerful river flowing toward a cliff, you don't build a dam and hope it holds forever. Dams break, and when they do, the flood is way worse than the original problem. Instead, smart engineers redirect the river towards something useful, like a power plant or farmland. That's exactly what we need to do with dopamine. When I realized this, I felt like an idiot. I had been trying to starve my brain of the very chemical that makes me want to do anything at all. No wonder I couldn't focus on work, exercise, or even conversations with friends. I wasn't broken. I was just redirecting all my motivation toward fighting my own biology. So, instead of another dopamine detox, I tried something completely different. I started what I call dopamine alignment, basically feeding my brain's craving for stimulation, but through activities that actually served my goals. Instead of deleting Instagram, I started following accounts that posted amazing book recommendations and got excited about finding my next read. Instead of eliminating all video content, I subscribed to channels about topics I wanted to learn. Like mine, so subscribe now, thank you. Instead of forcing myself into boring meditation, I found walking routes that felt like mini adventures. Instead of banning YouTube completely, curate a playlist of inspiring documentaries or skill-building content. This works because your brain still gets the dopamine, but now it's tied to things that actually matter. This is what I mean by intentional stimulation. You're not removing dopamine from your life. You're being strategic about where it flows. You're working with your brain's natural wiring instead of against it. Want to build a writing habit? Make your writing space visually rewarding. Use music that puts you in flow, start tracking your streaks, and celebrate the wins. You're no longer just avoiding bad stimulation, you're stacking good stimulation. And here's what happens next. And it's beautiful. The tasks you used to dread, they start to feel magnetically satisfying. Not because they suddenly got easier, but because dopamine starts pointing toward them. Look, I know this probably sounds too simple after all the extreme advice you've heard about dopamine detox. The truth is, your brain is always going to seek stimulation. That's not a bug in your system. It's a feature. The drive to want more, to seek novelty, to chase that next hit of satisfaction is what got humans to build civilizations, create art, and push boundaries. It's what makes you curious enough to learn and grow. The real transformation doesn't come from starving that drive. It comes from feeding it intentionally. I've been using this approach for over a year now, and honestly, my relationship with technology, with work, with everything just feels easier. I'm not constantly battling myself anymore. I'm working with who I am instead of against who I think I should be. So here's my challenge to you. Before you delete another app or start another impossible detox, ask yourself, what if the problem isn't your dopamine? What if it's just flowing in the wrong direction? Anyway, I'd love to have you around for more content like this. Hit subscribe if you want to see more real talk about productivity and building habits that actually stick. And drop a comment below. I'm genuinely curious about your experience with dopamine detox. Did it work for you? Or did you end up in that same cycle I described? Either way, you're not broken. You just need better directions for that river. Before I wrap up, here's today's comment of the day for the previous video. Awesome question. And yep, I tracked how I felt after each Pomodoro. Mentally drained or sharp, what kind of work I did, and whether the breaks helped reset my focus. Honestly, that one tweak changed the game. If you want your comment featured next, drop your thoughts or questions below. I read every single one, and your comment might just get a shout out next time. See you in the next one.